Hey guys, welcome to Windshine Audio. If you're watching this video in the Christmas Eve, like now in Singapore, today is Christmas Eve, we wish you a blessed, joyful and Merry Christmas. Of course, Happy New Year 2023. Alright, today is all about Pi2Design, a US-based company. They started manufacturing advanced digital audio streaming devices. Many of you might know this Pi2 AES. If I'm not wrong, Pi2Design started with this Pi2 AES, where if you are familiar with Raspberry Pi, you may use this Pi2 AES hat, install it on top of the Raspberry Pi, and change or converts the Raspberry Pi to a high quality streaming device. This Pi2 AES comes with coaxial output, optical output, AES EBU output, and a BNC AES output, as well as a differential I2S output. So this Pi2 AES got quite a lot of attention on the market, and a lot of our customers who use Dynaflips DAC use this Pi2 AES module. So we get to know this Pi2 AES through our customer. Did we go ahead to buy this module? Yes, we reached out to Michael at Pi2Design and wanted to buy some modules so that we can support the customer better. We always have this habit to acquire some of the thankfully lower price streamer on the market, and we use it with our DAC so that we can advise the customer what are the settings and parameters you can do to the devices for the streamer, as well as the DAC, to pair them in a proper manner. So we acquired a couple of Pi2 AES from Michael, and we use it in our system here. Majority of them are for troubleshooting purposes, and so that we can get a hang of it, how this Pi2 AES device work with Dynaflips DAC. Along the way, Pi2Design come out with Mercury streamer. This one. This is a Mercury streamer. Instead of a DIY approach, Pi2Design designed this Mercury streamer as a product. So it no longer comes with this hat and Raspberry Pi fashion, where it is still very much DIY based. You need to be pretty well versed in DIY. You need to be handy. You need to know a bit of electronics as well as computer side of it in order to make this Raspberry Pi based streamer. For the case of Mercury streamer, it is a complete product. Comes with a chassis, comes with built-in Raspberry Pi compute module 4, comes with various digital output and a DC supply here, the DC power socket here. You can apply the power to this Mercury streamer. It comes with a built-in operating system and you may use it right away. So this caught our attention. So we reached out to Michael again to show interest in distributing Pi2Design product for Asia market only. So apparently, as you guys know, Pi2Design is US-based company. US market is obviously will be direct sales from Pi2Design. But for Asia market, we think we may fill in this role for Pi2Design. So Michael is kind enough to assign us as the appointed distributor for Asia market, and we ordered quite a few pieces of this Mercury streamer. But along the way, as all manufacturers face trouble in this, I would say trouble time, 2021, 2022, chip shortage is real. So Michael at Pi2Design says that the Mercury streamer will be discontinued and there will be a version 2 to replace the Mercury streamer due to some shortages in the semiconductor chips that needed for the Mercury streamer. So the Mercury streamer is forced to be discontinued, and we didn't manage to sell any of them. But also, quite frankly, we are pretty thankful to Pi2Design, where they tell us in advance that this device will be discontinued, and we request them stop shipping the device to us, and we will wait for the version 2. So today, I'm going to show you the unboxing of the Mercury streamer version 2, the V2. We received the first shipment from Pi2Design just yesterday, and I can't wait to show you what is inside this box. Our shipment comes with a big carton, so this is just one of the box. Apparently all the customer will order one piece from Pi2Design, or from, if you're in Asia, you may order one piece or a couple of pieces from us, and we'll ship it in this box to you with waterproof plastic wrap all around it so that it can reach you safely. But this is what you expect when you receive the shipment. It's a plain white color carton. And let me show you what's inside. It's a simple packaging. It comes with a Mercury V2 itself, as well as a power adapter. This is a switch mode power supply box. It comes with a separate carton. This is a Minwell power supply that is rated at 12 volt, 3.3 ampere. So this is the power supply that you may connect the power cord to this switch mode power supply and use this connector here to connect to the version 2 Mercury streamer to power up the Mercury streamer. In all honesty, I won't be using this switch mode power supply. Instead, I'll be using my own LHY audio linear power supply. So we are also carrying a LHY audio linear power supply, so I'll be using the LHY LPS 80VA 12 volt for the Mercury V2. And in this box, you have this DC to DC converter here, where it converts, I believe, 2.1 mm 5.5 diameter connector to a 2.5 mm center pin and 5.5 mm diameter DC socket or DC connector. The Mercury V2 comes with a DC 5.5 2.5 mm DC connector. It may sound a little bit confusing if you're not familiar with connector like this. There are several DC socket or DC connector on the market. The most common one is this type of 5.5 mm diameter, 2.5 or 2.1 mm center pin. So this is the adapter to convert this 2.5 mm, 2.1 mm to 2.5 mm, just like this. Right, again, I hope you're using this, but it comes with an antenna. This antenna is supposed to be used with this Mercury V2 streamer, just like the V1. So V1 has this Wi-Fi antenna as well. Okay, let me put this box and power switch mode power supply aside and leave the antenna with me. So again, comes with all this shock absorber here for the unit or for the shipment to arrive to you safely. Let me just close this box so that I don't get messy styrofoam chips on my table. Okay, so it comes with this bubble wrap to wrap around this Mercury V2 streamer. Let me just peel off all this sticker. Right. First impression. The build quality of the version 2 Mercury V2 is so much better than the V1. So I did feedback to Michael at Pi2Design that the V1 feels a little bit lighter. The chassis is not substantial or healthy enough, and the V2 did quite a good job in this aspect. The chassis is extruded aluminum, anodized aluminum, aircraft grade, and the front panel and the back panel is a little bit thicker compared to the V1. The V1 is right over here, so this is smaller, feels a little bit lighter, but the V2 is quite substantial. So the build quality wise, the V2 is certainly a winner. So just side by side, you guys can tell the differences between the two. Okay, front panel, there's a push button for you to turn on the unit. One click, and the LED here will show you it is power up, and there's this ACT LED here to tell you that there's some activity going on in this unit. At the back of this unit, it comes with a DC 12 volt power socket where you may connect the supply switch mode power supply, or if you have an external linear power supply like what we sell, the LHY Audio LPS 80VA, you may also use it to power up the Mercury V2 streamer. It comes with this Ethernet connection here where you may connect an Ethernet wire to this streamer so that it can be connected to the same network and start streaming. Or you prefer to use Wi-Fi, again, it comes with this Wi-Fi antenna where you can connect to this connect to this at the back here, so that the Wi-Fi signal is properly antenna. Okay, there are a couple of HDMI connector found at the back. These two are for the traditional HDMI, or rather the regular HDMI, for you to connect to external monitor, just in case you want to have a monitor to see what's going on in the operating system here. The default built-in operating system for the Mercury V2 is Volumio. So again, it is a Raspberry Pi based Compute 4 module. Let me use all the Raspberry Pi compatible operating system with this streamer. So there are Volumio, there are Mode, or there are some other Rupee operating system that you may load to this micro SD card here, and this Mercury streamer will be able to power up as to your preferred operating system. Digital output wise, quite a lot. AES EBU, optical, coaxial via RCA, coaxial via BNC, as well as I2S over HDMI, fully differential, and there's a rare one, I2S LV CMOS over RJ45. This is the raw I2S output, if I may. There's no differential chips converter, so this is a little bit more sensitive to cable length, as well as the shielding of the cable. The cable has to be really short. So Dynaflip's Terminator 2, Terminator Plus, or the original Terminator come with this I2C input. A lot of customers do not know what are the devices that support this I2C input, and here we are. We have this RJ45 I2S output from this Mercury streamer version 2. Disclaimer here, I have not tested this unit yet. This is more of an unboxing video, just to show you guys what is this unit all about. I'll be using this with the new, I'm not sure whether I can just push it away and the camera will not capture this box. I'll be using this Mercury streamer with the Aries 12. Pretty nice match, isn't it? Over I2S. So it will be pretty interesting to find out whether the I2S of the Mercury V2 is it compatible with the Aries 12, and what are the settings we need to do to make these two devices work together for I2S over HDMI. So you may just connect a typical good quality HDMI cable from the Mercury streamer. Again, there are 3 ports here. So 2 of them are for multimedia HDMI, and this is what we are interested in, the I2S over HDMI connector. Connect this Mercury V2 I2S output to the Aries 12 I2S input and do some simple configuration. We should be in business for good music. In fact, I wanted to show you guys what is inside this Mercury streamer, but this video is going to take a little bit longer. If you are interested to know what is inside this Mercury V2 streamer, you may stay on. Otherwise, you may end this video and I'll see you next time. But if you are interested, please bear with me. I'm going to unscrew some of the screws to show you guys what is inside this version 2. I'm an electronic guy. I always like to see what is the electronic design inside a device, whether it is a new one or whether it is an old one. Whenever I receive a device, I always like to look under the hood. Look under the hood to see the beauty of the device. So if you're interested, like me, you may stay on. But please bear with me. I'm gonna do some unscrewing work to dismantle this Mercury V2. I think I'm one of the first guy to do this and film this over YouTube channel. I hope I get approval from Pi2Design. I hope they don't mind. I'll be uploading this video right away. I think it's fine. Right. So again, this build quality of the version 2 is a lot better than the version 1, where this whole piece is extruded aluminum, where you may just slide out the PCB out from the chassis like this. So this is, I think at least 3 mm thick of extruded aluminum, aircraft grade aluminum chassis, along with a pretty thick front panel. And yeah, the footer here is pretty high quality as well. It is screw on to the chassis at the bottom. Comes with a rubber ring for anti-resonance and stuff like that. All the audiophile stuff. Right, this is how it looks like internally. This is the Compute 4 module from Raspberry Pi. And we have, let's start from the power. If I may, I have a pencil for my daughter here. Let's start from the power inlet here. So the power inlet here supply 12 volt DC to this device. There are some converter here, converts it to the required voltage for the Compute 4 module as well as the peripheral devices here. This is a pretty high quality LDO linear regulator that supply 5 volt to the rest of the stuff here. We have this one. It's a Wolfson 8804 AES transmitter chip along with, I think it's a Femto clock, two of them, rated at 45 MHz and 49 MHz that does all the reclocking work. And we have spotted pretty high quality digital isolation transformer for AES, coaxial over RCA, coaxial over BNC. So these are the digital isolation here to do its job to isolate this device from the outside world. So vice versa. So this, you can pretty much expect this to be a pretty low noise digital output and high quality as well. HDMI connector here for I2S. There are some chips here. I think it's ESD protection, so that just in case if this HDMI cable, there are some electrostatics. This ESD devices chips here is protecting what is more important inside this unit. And we have this little device here. Is pretty interesting. I gotta ask Michael what is this about. It is connected to this USB controller here. I think it's more or less to receive the USB pen drive or USB drive signal and send it to this Compute 4 module. So this little crystal here and this USB chips here is for the USB portion, and we have spotted a pretty nice and fancy looking red color capacitor. I would say the quality is pretty good compared to the V1, and it's a pretty nice unit where it is pretty well designed. So there are 4 layers of PCB happening here. Despite from this angle here, you can only tell the components populated at the first layer, but there are a lot of things going on in this piece of thin PCB. There are 4 layers of circuitry going on here. Right, this is part 1 of the video. In part 2, I'm going to show you the connection of the Mercury V2 to the Aries 12, and hopefully it plays well over I2S for both PCM and DSD track, just in case some of you guys are interested in DSD. And that's pretty much about it. Right, it is the holiday season. I hope you happy holidays, and I'll see you next year. Bye bye.